Please subscribe my channel. I never thought a harmless joke could come so close to damaging a marriage, but that night taught me how delicate pride truly is. My name is Emily, and before that evening I believed arguments were just brief storms that blew over. My husband, Ryan, whom I'd been married to for 8 years, believed respect was the roof that kept everything standing. In the end, we were both right and both wrong. The disagreement began the way most do, small and ordinary. He forgot to pick up my prescription after work. I got angry and snapped at him. He sighed, and the kitchen fell into a heavy silence. Ryan has a way of becoming extremely quiet when he feels cornered. It drives me crazy. I wanted a reaction. I wanted him to argue, to push back, to admit fault. Instead, he calmly rinsed his plate and stared into the sink like it held every answer. Later that night, we went to my cousin's birthday celebration. The music was loud, the lighting warm, and everyone was smiling and enjoying themselves. The irritation was still humming inside me. I caught Ryan watching me from the other side of the room, his expression impossible to read. In a sudden, immature burst, I decided I needed to win. Not the argument, but the feeling of being dismissed. I wanted to feel attractive again. I wanted him to truly see me. When an old friend, Alex, asked me to dance, I agreed without pausing. The music swelled. Bodies shifted around us, and I laughed louder than I genuinely felt. I lifted my arms and moved my hips a bit closer than necessary. Alex stayed polite and respectful. He had no idea he was being used to prove a point. I glanced toward Ryan. He was watching. If this moment feels familiar to you, please like the video so this story can reach others who understand that pull between ego and regret. At first, it felt powerful. I convinced myself it was innocent, just dancing, nothing meaningful. Then the energy in the room shifted. I saw it in Ryan's eyes, not anger, but something colder, distance. He smiled politely at someone nearby, gave a small nod, and turned away. The reaction I wanted never came. Instead, a heavy knot formed in my chest. We drove home in silence. Streetlights passed in steady intervals like a countdown. I rehearsed explanations in my head, jokes, excuses, apologies. When we reached our home on Maple Street in Charlotte, North Carolina, Ryan didn't raise his voice. He didn't accuse me. He simply asked quietly, "Did that make you feel better?" I answered yes without thinking, because admitting anything else felt like losing again. That night, he slept on the couch. The next morning, he was already awake and dressed. He made coffee, poured only 1 cup, and carried it into the garage. I followed him, my heart racing, and said it was just dancing. He nodded far too calmly and replied, "I know." That calm frightened me more than shouting ever could. Days passed. Ryan remained courteous but distant, efficient, almost formal. He did chores, answered messages, kissed my cheek before leaving, but the warmth was gone. I tried humor, affection, even pretending jealousy. Nothing reached him. Felt like our marriage was sealed inside a glass box. I could see it, but couldn't touch it. Tell me in the comments, was my dancing harmless, or did cross a line that can't be undone? Genuinely want your perspective. The shift came a week later. We attended another gathering, smaller and quieter. Once again, I noticed Ryan across the room, but this time a woman stood beside him. She laughed at his jokes and lightly touched his arm. My stomach tightened. When our eyes met, he didn't look away. He looked straight through me. On the drive home, I exploded. I accused him of revenge, of being unfair. He listened without interrupting, then pulled the car to the side of the road. The engine clicked softly as it cooled. He said, "I didn't talk to her to hurt you. I talked because someone was actually listening." His voice cracked on the last word. That tiny break opened something deep inside me. In that moment, I finally understood what I had done. I hadn't danced to win an argument. I danced because I wanted to feel seen. And in doing so, I showed my husband that he wasn't enough to see me. I apologized fully, without excuses. I admitted I was afraid of fading away, of becoming invisible. He admitted he was afraid of being disrespected, of feeling unseen in his own marriage. In the weeks that followed, we set small rules that felt surprisingly powerful. Phones stayed off the table during dinner. We paused arguments instead of avoiding them, waiting until we could talk without trying to score points. Learned to name my feelings before they turned sharp. Ryan learned to stay present instead of retreating into silence. We worked through the awkward, honest moments where sincerity mattered more than sounding right. Sometimes we slipped. Sometimes we laughed at how dramatic we'd been. Sometimes old wounds resurfaced to test what we'd learned. Months later, we returned to that same house for another party. Music filled the room. People danced. I took Ryan's hand and pulled him close. We moved awkwardly at first, then together. It wasn't accidental. It was intentional. It meant something. If you believe small choices can either heal or harm relationships, please like this video, comment with what you took from this story, and subscribe for more stories that confront uncomfortable truths and help us choose better next time.